Morning, folks. Beautiful morning out here on the property. Sun shining. Ooh, blue herons. Nice. Yeah. Morning, folks. Thought I'd give you a little tour of the tiny cabin today. Let me get a cup of coffee and we'll have a look inside. Alrighty. Okay, so the who, what, where, when, and why of the tiny cabin. Let's start with the what. The tiny cabin is a 96 square foot, 8 by 12, 2 by 4 construction cabin. It was built to fit my family of 4. So it has a loft upstairs and then the single bench. Couch downstairs turns into a double bed with sort of a slide out design that I stole from some van adventure websites. The house design that I found online that I felt fit our needs, family of 4, all the different types of things we were going to be using the cabin for, how much we were going to be using the cabin. I liked the design of Dee Williams' little tiny house. She just seemed to have all the things I needed. A little kitchen area, a little living room area that turned into a sleeping area, a loft area where the kids could sleep. Sleeping 4 in less than 100 square feet is not easy. Making it feel comfortable and big is not easy. And I really liked the way her design had this nice big open feel downstairs with the lofted ceiling and left room for yet a kitchen area as well as a pantry area and a little bathroom area. I thought that was great. Again, in the middle of winter, minus 30, the kids, they don't want to get up and go outside to go pee in the middle of the night. So we made that simple by just putting in a little water closet for them. The toilet is nothing fancy; it's just a bucket, and we just make sure we do just the number 1 in there, no number 2s. Number 2s are reserved for the outhouse, but it does save us from having to freeze our butts off in the middle of the night when you just have to take a quick pee. The bathroom, to get a little bit of privacy, I just built a door that like a barn door style thing, just out of fence boards, and just bent up some little sliders there to roll along. Doesn't roll great, but it does the job. It gives you the privacy when you need a little bit of privacy in the bathroom. And most of the time it just stays open anyway. I also built a little rolling pantry in the tiny cabin. So the pantry, again, was just another storage. The heating system is a little cubic mini stove. Cubic Minis, company out of Quebec, and they make these stoves, I think primarily for marine purposes for small houseboats and things like that. But certainly been used in camper vans and tiny homes and all sorts of different things like that over the last few years. So that was that's our main heating source in the cabin, and that served us pretty well that first year. As far as the wood supply goes, we used to have a big bin sitting there on the floor, which was not super ideal. It took up a lot of space. So I built this little wood box, and it's inspired by some of the old campfire wood supply boxes in some of the national parks here in Canada, where they dump the wood in the top and it just all comes out the bottom, and you can collect your wood out the bottom. One of the other concerns in the wintertime, obviously, for anybody who's in a snowy area is wet clothes. And we try to sort that out. You don't want to get wet out here. As soon as you're wet, you're done, and you're inside. And we bought this property so that we could be outside most of the time. And so one of the things we did over the fireplace was built this handy-dandy little rack for drying our mittens and scarves and toques and such. Yes, toques. They are toques. So we just hang them on there, and they sit right over the fireplace, and that warms them up pretty darn quick and dries things out nice and fast. And what about your parkas and ski pants, you might ask? Well, we have this cord running up to some pulleys over to this handy dandy little drying rack that's in the ceiling. Just some wasted space up there in the ceiling, so that just drops down, and we'll just hook that on there, just like so. And then we can hang clothes on here, and hang boots on the little screws on the end there. And then we just pull it back up. Pull it back up into the ceiling. And it warms quite nicely up there. Obviously, that's where all the warm air likes to sit and hang out. So it tends to dry those clothes pretty quickly. So like I say, the warm air does tend to culminate up here in the loft, which can cook the boys out pretty good. When that fire gets raging. It does dry the clothes nice and quickly, but it can heat them up pretty good. So what we did the second year, in order to get the heat back down from up here, or at least to mix it around a little bit, is when I did the power, I put in this little fan box, which the cable had to run through and everything else. And just put this high velocity computer fan, 12 volt, in there. And that tends to mix the air pretty good. It blows it back down again. It does actually blow it across the parkas and ski pants, and just sort of keeps the air flowing, which really helps bring that warm air back down, into the main space of the cabin. Now in summertime, it also gets nice and hot up here. And we don't want that hot air back down again. We want it out of here. So if you open the window up here in the loft and then just flip this guy down, because it's on hinges, then it blows the air right out that window, which is great. So the power here in the tiny cabin is all run just off of a 40 watt solar panel. Outside, obviously, and that just runs into this really simple charge controller, and then all the lights just go into this little fuse block, blade fuses, 3 amp blade fuses, which is still high. I would like to get those down to 1 amp because most of the lights use less than an amp, but it has fuses for everything, all the lights, and then just a really simple charge controller. Then in this cabinet, we've got a really tiny little just a lawn tractor battery, which is 35 amp hours, and that has the has the solar panel just plugged into that. We take that battery with us in the winter back home so that it doesn't freeze. Then it's a nice small enough battery that we can just pack it and bring it out here and plug it in, and it's just sort of plug and play. You clip it in with those alligator clips and away you go real quick. And then we've just got a small 150 watt inverter to charge your phones and computers and whatever else while you're out here if you want to do that kind of thing. So there you have it, folks. There's the tiny cabin. I hope I talked about everything everyone wanted to know. If you have questions that I didn't talk about, feel free to comment below, and I will try and answer those questions quickly. Yeah, thanks for coming along. Hope it was informative. Hope you enjoyed it, and do all that click, subscribe, like stuff, subscribe stuff. I don't know. We're just getting started here, so lots more to come. I'm going to do a full review of that tiny stove there, so look for that, because I know lots of people are interested in that tiny little stove. It has been an awesome little thing for us, so look for my full review on that. We've been using it now for 2 full years, so I'm going to pull it apart and clean the chimney, and we'll have a look at what kind of creosote's been building up in there over 2 years, and we'll talk all about it, so join us for that as well. Okay, folks, thanks and have a great day.